Welcome to Two Queens and Crystal Things,
Okay.
the podcast where we are on some manifest your life, shift your mind, and raise the consciousness type of shit. We heard you, Brantley. I am Mia.
And I'm Christy. And you can consider us and my dogs our spiritual girlfriends for the next hour or so. Okay, so last episode we talked about divine timing. And honestly, I really hope you all got something out of this episode. So divine timing, just to recap, is the belief or understanding that everything occurs exactly as it is designed to. So along with several other topics, we cover the concept of time and how spirit works outside of the construct of time. So I really hope that this was helpful for you all. It was actually good for me, and it was a really great reminder for me to just remember that my expectations of having things fall according to my timeline is not necessarily how it's intended to be. And so I need to be open and flexible for things to just flow as they should. So, okay, so what are we talking about today?
So, today we're going to talk about our shadow side, you guys.
Ooh.
You know, talk about the importance of what is commonly referred to as shadow work.
Mm-hmm.
So, when we talk about our shadow side, I am using a language that indicates that I believe in polarity, but y'all know I don't. But for the purpose of illustration, the shadow side is the dark side. The side that contains our secrets.
Yeah.
The side that holds the repressed feelings. The what some might call your evil side. I air quoted that. Your primitive impulses. It's the parts that we believe are should be masked or hidden, that we find unacceptable. They're shameful, sinful. The shadow side that we're going to discuss today is what some might consider the devil on your shoulder. You know how you have the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other?
Exactly.
This is the side that we're talking about. So why? I know you guys are like, okay, if you haven't heard us talk about embracing the wholeness of who you are, this is what we're talking about. It's so easy for us to embrace
The good side.
the good side because,
The good
I mean,
parts, the light
duh.
parts.
But you guys, the dopeness, I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm just saying. And so I love this quote. Because why are we talking about this? Because as a part of this community, one of the contributions that we are very cognizant that we are making to the community is an opportunity for people to explore their self-mastery. And if you don't explore your shadow side, you are not expecting your full, whole, and authentic mastery. So I love this quote. It's only when we are brave enough to explore the darkness will we discover the infinite power of our light.
I
So
like
you,
that.
man,
I love that.
right?
And so for me, I just need simple. So when I think about shadow, I think about all the shit that is swept under the rug, that is kind of kept hidden, out of sight, out of mind. It's forgotten. Those are the areas, or that is the area that you need to really pay attention
Yeah,
to.
like for real. And explain. So let me just say, it's not forgotten because it keeps coming up.
Not forgotten.
It's like we try to think it's forgotten. We want it to be forgotten.
It's swept under the rug.
It's swept under the rug, but it's a big old mound,
Because as you
right?
are speaking it, and as we're trying to not deal with it, it's getting larger and larger and larger. But that's kind of what I envision shadow.
I like that.
Like the areas of ourselves that I try to not deal with. But I really think that shadow work is really important. And I think I'm also... Yeah, you guys excuse me because I've been at a funeral today and a repast, so I've been drinking.
I've been drinking.
But I really feel like as far as shadow work, I feel like I'm entering into that cycle again where I'm having to deal with some shadow work.
Ooh, girl.
Because all of this is a cycle. You know,
Absolutely.
Like, I feel like we're like at this like wonderful space where everything is happening and things are blooming, but then we get to this space where our flowers are starting to fall off and things are starting to die, and then we have to go back into the dirt.
I think about, because it's that beautiful time of year when the trees, turn colors, and every time I look at the trees, I think about
beautiful.
how we humans will celebrate watching the death in nature. People will drive hours,
But
go
not
up
celebrate
to
our own.
but don't see the beauty of our wisdom. Like, we get more beautiful every time we heal. We get more beautiful when we mature. So I always find it so interesting that we can see that in our nature brothers and sisters, but we can't see it within ourselves as humans.
So I know this isn't a part of the episode that that we've kind of discussed, but is there any shadow work that you're currently working on right now?
Oh yeah, no, baby,
And would you say it's cyclical?
Most definitely. I definitely just ended a cycle, and I'm definitely in a new cycle. I honestly feel like I just got my PhD. And I totally understand the process. I have a newfound appreciation for the journey.
You do?
Absolutely. I think that this most recent lesson that I had to go through, again, was self-mastery. This is all about self-mastery for me. If I had gotten this earlier, I would not have been able to receive it. It's like building a house. You got to have the foundation. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to start putting in all the walls if you don't have the roof up. Like, you put the envelope up, the outside's out, and then you fill in. But if you go in and start building a kitchen with no wall,
and no foundation,
it's just
it's not gonna work.
I understand.
Yeah.
Why it had to be the way that it had to be, and and I love, honestly, when I look at our last few episodes, Christy, I feel like we are kind of walking through the process, because we talked about holding ourselves accountable. We talked about divine timing. And so when I think about this cycle that I just ended, that was divine timing like a motherfucker. Because if it had been the way that I want, it would not have girl, bye.
Which is really interesting, because I feel like I'm now entering this phase of me going back into the shadow.
Look, tag you it.
And
my bad.
Okay, so for those of you who are listening, I have to admit, so initially I was like, shadow work, what is that? I don't have time to deal with my dark side. I don't want to deal with my dark side. I only want to deal with light. But then again, we've talked about this. You can't fully appreciate the light unless you go into the dark.
Christy, I don't know. I wish I could convey it in a way that everybody can understand. I fully and truly believe that the deeper into the darkness of yourself that you are willing to go indicates how high you will go in the light.
As above, so below.
Yes, I'm like, y'all, we talk about this all the time, but it's so. I shouldn't say, but I'm appreciating so much how it is that I'm seeing it manifest in my life. It's just further validation and confirmation that we are living this as we're speaking this.
Whew.
Okay?
Yeah.
So when we talk about your shadow side or shadow work, right? I feel like it's really, we shouldn't come to it as something that we need to be afraid of.
Right. I was going to say the exact same thing.
You know what I mean? Like, we shouldn't come to it as it's something for us to be afraid of.
No.
Let's look at it like...
It's a part of you.
Thank you. It's just you taking the time to be honest with yourself about yourself.
So, can I... Okay. So, I think about the moon. So you know how how the moon. Yes, you guys know me in the moon. Have a thing.
We got
So
a
when you think
thing
about a full moon, it's fully illuminated.
going on.
But then there's also this phase in the moon where you can't see it because it's dark. It's still there, but there are two sides to the moon, and so it's neither good or bad. It just is. And so the shadow side is that part of the moon that we don't see. So it's definitely not something to be afraid of. It's just it's another aspect of you. It's the part of us that we don't want to deal with, or that we're afraid to deal with, or that if we deal with it, it's going to, the finger is going to be pointing to us, and then we have to be accountable for our own shit. This is the side to us that we all need to face head on.
Yes.
But we don't want to because we're too afraid.
I mean, okay, what was it? Was it last episode that we talked about divine timing? Or one of these
I think
episodes?
I think that was 9.
No, I'm sorry. I don't mean divine timing. I want to talk about holding yourself accountable.
That was 7.
Okay. So, a few episodes back, we spoke about holding yourself accountable.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you hold yourself accountable, truly hold yourself accountable.
Yes, truly and fully.
You understand that you are everything. You are all and nothing.
You are the problem and the solution. Let me stop.
Wait, no, but while she's playing, it's true.
Yeah.
So with your shadow, when your shadow side is triggered, there's a reason for that. There's a blessing in that. There's a lesson in that. So we can't walk away from it, because then you're not allowing yourself to be honest with yourself about who you are. So you're literally going against yourself when you don't address your shadow self. Because, moving to the next point, when you are repressing your shadow self, whose standard are you living by when you repress that dark side?
Not yours.
Who told? First of all, let's get into it.
Who?
Who said?
Who said that? And why are you believing it?
Who said that? What part of yourself are you getting that is not to be seen, that is to be masked? According to whom? Because I'm going to tell you why. When we love ourselves, we understand that every piece and participle of myself, every atom in my motherfucking body, as perfect as it is, as it should be, and there's a purpose in it that is for my highest good. So when we start to place our aspects of ourselves and characteristics of ourselves into buckets of good and bad, we are really doing ourselves a disservice. It is all fucking beautiful. And whose standard are you living by? Like, what you think about that, Christy?
So I will say that does take time. Like moving out of the this is good and this is bad space, because I've done that for years. And for some of you, and I don't know if I talked about this, but I think you all know that I used to dance professionally. I don't know, but I used to dance professionally, and when I was dancing, I developed an eating disorder. So there was this time, this phase of my life, and it still carries on to this day, where I feel like this is good and this is bad, and it's taking a lot of effort for me to break that programming. And so just dealing with your shadow side is going to require you breaking that programming and really sitting with yourself and understanding that it's not good or bad. It just is. Like, if you look at the yin and the yang, it holds both the light and the dark.
I mean, when I think about, so I was thinking about the idea of a woman, honestly, anybody in a relationship where you have been wronged, and you shut your mouth to keep the peace. So because someone has said that that's what role that you playing this role.
And they done that.
But someone, so this is why I'm bringing this up, because
T-shirt.
we're going to say this is a masculine and feminine thing, right? The woman is shutting her mouth to keep the peace, even though she's the one that's been wrong. So if that woman speaks out, like, hold on, flag on the play, dude, flag on the motherfucking play. Then he'll be like, he'll try to call out, that's your shadow side. There's something wrong with you for doing that. How dare you speak up for yourself? Because that's why I want to talk about the benefits of your shadow side. Why it's important. Your shadow side is the rebel in you. Now let's talk about what you're rebelling against. When you are rebelling against yourself, that is when you are denying your shadow side. When you rebel against yourself, when you deny your shadow side. But when you are rebelling against a system that is set up to cause you confusion and chaos within yourself, now, but they think they're stopping you, but that's really causing you to grow. Is that really your shadow side? The shadow side is the one that makes you stand up. The shadow side is the activist in you. The shadow side that says, wait a minute, hold
the fuck up.
What? So when we think about our shadow side, that's why I say I don't like us speaking in polarity, because there is beauty in that.
Right.
The shadow side is the one that stands up for you.
And I do feel like that when you do deny reflecting on the shadow side or dealing with those aspects of yourself, you are also slowing your growth.
Yes.
And slowing your progress. Because I will say that the one thing that has helped me as far as like really growing in my spiritual practice has been dealing with my own shit. Dealing with the shadow side, like that's not the area of ourselves that we want to deal with the butterflies and the rainbows and everything that's pretty. We don't want to have to deal with the shitty parts of ourselves.
But you know what? Can I say something? You know what's so interesting? Many people will put sex in our shadow side, because humans, we love labeling, putting shit in buckets.
Yeah, we do.
That's what we here for. Label some shit. What is this? We'll put sex in our shadow side. That's the deep side. That's the dark side. Think about things in your life that society has told you should not be brought forward, should not be part of the conversation in the sun. You talk about that at night. So whenever we are taught and told that there are things that we only speak about, not in the light of day, behind closed doors, in the dark, in secret, pillow talk, that's nighttime talk.
Right.
And so when you think about it, it's like, they don't want the sun to get the energy of that, so it's secret time. But what we don't understand is how powerful the moon is. So everything that you think is secret, baby, there's secret. That's what I say. All darkness, everything done in the dark comes to light. Y'all,
it does.
The life that we live, and these little sayings that we have, these little cliche sayings that we have, there's some honor and truth in that. Everything in the dark comes to light. You think, just like the cycle of the moon. Okay. Just like you think you've done it in a new moon, in the darkness, in a dark moon, whatever is done in the dark comes to light. That darkness will eventually be a full bright ass moon. And it will be, and there are cycles to this.
Just like there are layers to it.
And so the darkness is nothing to be afraid of within yourself, because that's where you go to creation. When I think about creation, the beginning of creation, the void is black. It is darkness.
But I also feel like the shadow is where you find your strength.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where, if you think about so I'm just going to say this, and it could be the liquor talking, it could be the alcohol. But I feel like shadow work is root chakra, sacral chakra, solar plexus.
Mm-hmm. Yes, with, Christy,
deep stuff, like the foundation, the nitty gritty, the power, the strength, the primitive, like you were saying, that aspect of yourself. So honestly, like, do not be afraid to deal with that shadow. Don't be afraid to deal with the shadow work.
Come on.
Because that's the part of yourself that you need to tap into when it's time for you to deal with some shit. Anyway, okay.
And I always go back to the analogy of plants and growing. If you set a seed on top of the land,
Yeah.
you know, and just said it just needs to be in the light. We're afraid of the dark. There is a very high chance that seed won't grow.
Yes, very high.
But if you dig a hole down into the depths, you go deeper. Just think about it, y'all. Just think about, see yourself as a seed that is planted. If you do not go deep with yourself, how in the hell do you expect yourself to sprout up? You have to grow roots to go up. So when I think about shadow work, I don't necessarily think of it just as the bad side of me. It is my fucking roots. This is root work. Yeah. And just like Chrissy said, root chakra, that sacral chakra, that solar, we're all up in, we're jamming in that area. Why would you deny such a fucking beautiful part of who you are?
Right.
That
because
part.
Think about it. Like, think about all of those chakras that deal with you. Like, root deals with your security and like transitions and like feeling grounded. Sacral chakra deals with sexuality and creativity.
Yes.
And your solar plexus is like personal power and identity. Why would you want to deny that of yourself?
And think about it. If we're gonna keep it real funky out here, one of the things that we say is the dark side or the demon or the side that we don't want to look at, our sexuality. If it weren't for sex, none y'all would be here. Not near one of you.
None.
Not near one. So why would we demonize something that has the power to create? We demonize it when we don't honor what it truly is. Yep. But I'm not, you know what? I'm gonna step off of that for a minute. I'm gonna stay focused. I'm gonna stay focused.
That is a message right there.
That's where the real problem is. It's not the act, it's our intent behind it. But you know what? I'm gonna shut up. I'm a minding my business.
Let's talk about the significance of chaos in our growth. And like our internal chaos and the chaos triggers that, you know, we deal with in the lives of other people.
Yes. So
sometimes, you know, we've all been in situations where things just kind of fall to shit.
Sorry.
And I feel like it's in those
First
moments.
of all, mind your business. Don't be telling these people my business like that, Christy.
Well,
that's rude. I don't appreciate it. Rude.
No,
I mean, because who said? The fuck?
But we've all been there. We've all like had issues or had something that just comes up and everything is just gone to shit. But it actually, if you step back and you pause, you're able to see some shit surfacing and realizing, okay, these are some areas that I need to deal with. This is the reason why these triggers, you know, created this. Like, this is an area that I need to deal with.
So, okay. I think one of the things that, I should say another layer of a lesson, a deeper layer of a lesson that I've recently learned is understanding why there is trauma, why trauma is often the trigger for expansion, why trauma is often the trigger for an awakening. Because if everything is good in our lives, it's so easy for us to get comfortable in that space. So this is why I've finally found a way to understand and see pain and trauma as a benefit, as necessary, as the beautiful thing that it is. Pain and trauma, when you look at it from the beautiful creation, is nothing but a trigger for us to get deeper into who the hell we are. And so when I want you to think about your life right now and think about how these pains, these traumas, this dark side has helped create exactly who you are. I guarantee you, I'm willing to bet you 90 motherfucking T that about 90% of the people who are listening to this are here because of a trauma that happened in their life, and they're going down the journey of self-mastery. They're having that, wait a minute, hold on.
And that's not for everyone, though.
That's what, WTF.
Yeah.
Whoa! Reel it in. I got some questions.
Yeah, that's not for everyone, because I will say that there are some people, and I'm sure you've had clients like this too, where they're going through some shit, they get triggered, and then they fall as being the victim. Everything is not their fault. It is outside of themselves. They have no responsibility. They have no accountability. But those triggers, when they come up, it's for a purpose. And you can either choose to like look at it as a purpose for growth, or you can look at it as like, oh, I'm a victim. But there is significance to those triggers. Yeah.
I'm with you when you write, sis. I'm with you when you write. So when I think about, when I think about chaos, the importance of it, the significance of it in our growth, I just see it as a trigger for us to go deeper. Because honestly, and I don't want to be dramatic about it, but when I think about every leap, bound, dimensional jump into myself that has happened, it has always been triggered by trauma and pain. Now, that's not everybody's story. Yeah. But I'm going to say, just about everybody I know who's really deep into their journey, it was triggered by trauma and pain.
I agree.
I'm just looking. I'm like,
I agree, and I
don't want to make a sweeping generalization,
but no, I feel you, and I really agree because, well, no, I like
the goddesses I know have been through some.
Oh yeah, yeah, we've been through shit, like some shit.
What?
Dragged, whatever
you
want to use.
Been through some.
Been through.
So that's what I'm saying. That's why I feel like there's beauty in the trauma when you come out on the other side of something and look at your life today. Everybody listening to this can say, if it weren't for that, bliggity bleep bleep bleep, whatever the hell it is and whatever aspect it is, I would not be here. I would not be. I wouldn't know myself. Of course.
I really like that we're able to have these conversations because it really makes me think about stuff. So, we talk about energy and we talk about frequency. And if you think about, I don't know if you all have looked up like the Japanese scientist who spoke to water molecules.
Oh my God. I love that. Of course,
And so everything is everything on the positive frequency or I guess quote unquote light frequency has structure. When you're talking to the water, you're like, "Oh, I hate you. You're ugly. You're nasty.
This is good.
I can't stand you.
It
You
looks
don't
chaotic.
do anything." It looks chaotic.
There's no pattern.
There is no pattern, but I feel like the universe, just the way that everything was created, there is a structure in everything. Ooh! So when things are
I'm sorry, sacred geometry.
Right.
Come on.
Geometry.
Look, I'm like, girl, yes. Come on, Christy.
Like where the universe is always looking for that balance. Always looking for that structure.
I'm about to throw this microphone at this girl today. Girl, you better stop playing with me.
No, but I'm for real. But I feel like the universe is always looking for that structure. And so chaos comes when that structure isn't there. But it's through that chaos that you're able to find it. So it's needed. It's needed.
Y'all. I need y'all. Please. Nah, for real.
And this is after several drinks.
Seriously. Please.
Let me know if that makes sense, though.
I need the divine spirit in each and every one of you who is listening to this to hear the divine spirit that just came out this woman's mouth because she is saying something. Please hear that. Ooh. Thank you for that, Queen.
It makes me feel so good, even when I'm not doing nothing.
Girl, Christy. Hey, baby, you gotta know when magic come out your mouth, baby. No, Christy, that was a word. I need people to hear that. Look at
That's true. Like when things happen,
my little heart chakra.
but no, when things happen and shit really hits the fan, don't become a victim.
Don't be a victim.
There is a reason why things are being chaotic. It's fine. It needs to find that structure. Find the beauty in it. And like Mia was saying, there's beauty in all of these cycles.
There's beauty in everything.
There's beauty in everything.
I love it. That makes me happy. Like,
and I actually, honestly, I would say this year, this is November.
Girl, 2022 been a humdinger.
Right.
Wait! No.
More
No.
The man's like, no, I got this one.
No.
I won
Pick me, please.
I won the award on this
right.
one.
When I say a motherfucking humdinger.
Yeah, Mia's gone through it.
I'm happy as hell though, but the
well, think about it. Think about how low you've had to go,
baby. How low can you go? Can you go down low? All the way to the floor. How low can you go?
Because again, as above, so below. You saw the time?
Yeah.
We are at 31 minutes.
Okay, thank you. I'll tell you about that. Okay.
Okay. So also just dealing with the shadow aspect of yourself, and this is something that I actually added this to our, discussion. Running from your shadow side and dealing with your shit will only delay and prolong your growth.
Absolutely.
Because again, like in the spiritual realm, everyone's like, oh, light and love, everything is light, everything is love.
Chrissy, I know you love a quote. This quote comes, so when I think about this, I think of what you resist persists.
Yes.
I didn't make that up, y'all. I don't know who said it, but I read it. What you resist persists. When I think about, that's what I think about running.
Mm-hmm.
Can't keep running.
Yep. No matter like how you try and ignore it, like think about all the shit you try to ignore and you brush it under the rug. Eventually that rug becomes this mound that you can no longer ignore, and at some point in time,
you walking over it, around it.
At some point you gotta lift the rug up and you gotta deal with it.
You're gonna have to deal with it.
You gotta deal with the shit.
Come on. So let's get to what it looks like after you deal with it. Well, let me tell y'all something. Let me tell you motherfucker something. The real flex, the glow up, the come up. Talking about every time you heal, you'll get finer. Let me tell you.
Finer and finer. And looking younger and younger.
Baby, I got that Benjamin Button. I got that. I got that Benjamin Button.
I got that Benjamin Button.
Because
you just gotta do the work.
The real flex is falling apart and putting myself back together. Come on with it, y'all. When you put yourself back together, let me tell you, when you break and expand, I'm done.
And so for some of you all who are like a science nerd like me, one of the reasons why it's important for kids to run and jump is because when they're younger and their bones have like that impact, the bones break. Because the bones haven't fully deformed. They break, and within those breaks, the bones then build back up where they're like stronger. So it's important for them to have those like small, tiny micro fiber, whatever it's called, fractures to strengthen the bones. And this is kind of the same thing. Falling apart, putting yourself back together.
That's
you become
the flex.
Stronger.
What?
Stronger.
So, this is why I'm telling you, like, that's why I honestly, there is something in the journey when you're able to get to the point where you understand the pain and the trauma is worth it because I've been through this too many times. I know there's another side to this, and I know what it feels like on the other side of this. Yep. So now I own it. I did the work. When you own that falling apart, because and own why you got there, and stop making yourself a fucking victim. I understand that this trauma was here, it has come to help you break so you can expand. You just keep getting bigger and finer. Somehow your stink don't stink. Like I'm keeping it 100, like for real. Somebody who's healed and they walk in this world from a healed perspective, they see things differently. They can see colors in the earth and the sky that other motherfuckers can't see because they worked on that. Okay? So you guys, I promise you, we talk about did we talk about you know what? But that's the next thing. Because I said, did we talk about the dark night of the soul? I promise you, the working on yourself, but allowing yourself, and with that, allowing yourself to go into the places that you're scared to go. It's just imagine the seed going into the ground to grow out and become a flower.
Yeah.
That's all I can. So that's the only way I can describe it.
But you're right, and I will say that now it's gotten to the point where it's like I acknowledge and feel the cycle of it, and I realize, okay, I'm in the process, or I'm in the phase where I'm in the dirt right now.
Yep.
Me in the dirt is dealing with the shadow work.
Yes. Of myself. But while you're doing that, that's when the roots start to grow.
And then eventually out of that phase, I start to bloom. And then, of course, then out of that, then I'm flowering. Bing, bing. Right. Bing, bing. And then after that, bing, bang.
Bang, bang.
Then it's like, then I die. And then it goes again. So there's this, I've actually gotten to a point in this spiritual walk that I acknowledge and I can start to feel these cycles. And now I'm starting to realize, and maybe you tell me if it's, I'm starting, like my cycles are starting to align with the seasons, and I'm starting to feel them with the moon. So it's like the annual cycle.
That is so interesting.
It's like the annual cycle of the seasons.
No, Christy, that's so crazy because I got my journals with me. You guys, one of the things I've been talking about a lot and journaling about is living by the moon. Understanding how my life is aligning with the moon cycles. Understand, we often we can go, ad nauseum about the full moon and the new moon. But the cycles in between, they all every step matters. And I've been watching how my life is aligning with that. So yes. That's so interesting that you said that.
Even with your menstrual cycle.
I'm about to throw something at you. Yes.
Think about how I was talking about this to, I think, my partner the other day. It's like, think about our ancestors. Like, they didn't have calendars. They didn't have cell phones. There weren't maps. There was nothing. So they had to find something that was happening, within nature that could pretty much kind of dictate or tell them what next cycle they were entering into. But so the dark night of the soul, do not be afraid of that. I don't know where it came from, but the whole dark piece, where do we become afraid? Where did that come from? Where we became afraid to deal with it.
Okay, so now we're gonna go into here's my theory on that. I think that the more that there was an interest by whatever parties, I'm not into all of that, by a faction to control, they understood that they got to the place of understanding where they understood the universe because they went into the darkness. So if I want to control that, I need to make the darkness seem scary and bad, and yes, and anti, what is good, everything that is good. So when we say that going into the dark night of the soul is scary, if you say to somebody, the only way that you can attain and understand the divinity that is within you is if you have a dark night of the soul. Some people like, well, let me look at my life. Hold on. I'm cool. I'm good.
As above, so below.
I don't need it. I'm fine. I don't want to go. Right, but some people are in a space where they don't want to ascend further because they're comfortable, and we need those in this world too.
Right. I agree. Yeah, you were right.
But those of us
who have chosen
to understand the divinity within us and the humanity within us and walk this earth in that space, you're gonna have to go a little deeper. And so that dark night of the soul, if I make it look scary, like, Christy knows I don't watch scary movies. I don't, the horror stuff.
I do.
I don't see the point. Like, nope, can't.
I was born and raised on it, so.
But when it comes to, I feel like what has happened is they made the Dark Night of the Soul look like a horror movie. But what I've come to learn in my life, just in my experience,
yeah, I can see that,
to not be afraid of that. I used to look at it like it was a Dark Night of the Soul. That was scary. I don't want to go down there. What the fuck? Hell no.
Well, nobody does.
I mean, like, it's like, you know how you watch movies, like, who the hell goes down the sewer? Like, hey guys, I dropped my ball down the sewer. I'm gonna go down there. Everybody knows you're gonna get knocked the fuck out. So when you walk into that intentionally knowing I'm about to get knocked the fuck out, but when I wake up, I'm a whole queen up in this mug. That's a different type of person. So what happens? So let's name some of the things that go on. If you're wondering, am I having a dark night of the soul? Because I'm telling you something, that Scorpio season, it's eclipse season. Y'all look, some of y'all is having a dark night of the soul. But it's beautiful. Okay, so let's get into it. One of the things that happens in a dark night of the soul is the ego death. So let me tell you what we mean by that. When we look at things, we are oftentimes looking at it as I am one above all, not a part of the one.
Yeah.
We don't allow ourselves to see that every relationship that we have is a mirror of who and what we are. Here to show, trigger, enlighten, and awaken us more to who we are. Our friendships, our family, our pets, everybody. So when you're having an ego death, you start to see how your relationships are mirrors of yourself. And your ego is like, no. F them. It's us. They not like us. You are one of one, and you are one of one of the divine. You are a special and unique manifestation of God on this earth. Period. But you are still part of the collective, and everything outside of you is a mirror of you. So when you start to see that, and there's this death, this pain that comes with, wait a minute, hold on. You might be going through a dark night of the soul.
Yep.
If you're experiencing that, if you're starting to question how, am I needed here?
Yep.
Like, what's the point?
Been there.
You might be through that dark night of the soul.
Got a t-shirt for it.
Right.
So another thing is hermit mode.
Yeah.
And I feel like
Look, Christy likes hermit mode. I do too. Don't tell nobody.
I really do. Hermit mode.
Yeah, I did.
She done passed the baton to me and didn't tell me nothing.
You're
about
it.
But honestly, I feel like hermit mode is the space where we really are able to tune in and listen to our higher self, our guides, our ancestors, our spiritual guides, angels. Like, I feel like that's when I really, really am connected, and I hear and get lots of downloads in that space.
Yes.
Yeah, like
yes, Christy. So, another indicator that you could possibly be experiencing or walking into a dark night of the soul cycle or time in your life is that you start to understand or have a new appreciation for how temporary everything is in this world. First of all, our life, the shortness of it, like how
we need to talk about death at some point.
Oh, yes. Oh, Christy, yes. Okay, sorry. Let me calm down. How temporary our life is. And also, not just the temporariness, is that a word? Of our life. But, right, I just said it. It is. But how temporary the cycles are. Mm-hmm. So if you've been through enough up and down, you understand that the up is temporary, the down is temporary. And when you start to sit back and observe your life, you understand, oh my God, all this shit is fascinating. It is beautiful.
And honestly, I get
and
excited
nothing
about it
lasts
now.
forever. Me too. No.
I get excited now because now I
Christy,
realize,
yes.
especially if it's a lesson that we had to learn.
Ooh, because it's an upgrade.
It's an upgrade. And so you go through these cycles where it's like, okay, you're on the upswing, but then you're going back down because then you got to get rooted and then you have to plant yourself and you have to start growing. So there are all these things. But I realized that now it's temporary. All of these cycles and these phases that we go through, it's temporary. It's not forever. Mm-hmm. And I get excited about it because on the other side comes out something really, really beautiful. Something that I never anticipated.
Come on now.
So, something else, as far as dealing with the dark night of the soul, you get to this point where you feel like nothing feels like it matters. So I will
I
admit,
love this time. I'm laughing now because I've been through it several times. You be like, I don't
give a fuck. Okay, so this was
none of this shit matter.
Okay, so this was when we had the journey at your house.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I really started to look at things differently. Like, none of this shit matters.
All this is beneath me.
Like, none of it.
What? Ooh,
the stressing about time, the stressing about work, the stressing about
Chrissy about to make me throw cheese at her.
Relationships. After that journey, I was like, none of this shit matters.
None of it.
None of it. Like, I'm gonna be upset about nothing matters. And like you were saying, you get to a point where it's so beneath. You're like,
this is beneath.
This is like dust. This is nothing.
Baby, I pay a dust. Nothing. Particles.
I felt that after when we had the journey at your house. Not the new one. Not the recent one.
Look, don't be mad at me because you got a boo and you wanted to go out of town and see your child.
Not the recent one that you just had without me. But it was the one that you had.
Yeah, I'm going to throw wine at Christy for real.
Look, and I will be over here with my mouth open. Ready to receive it. But no, like, you get to this point where you realize it's like, the stuff that I'm stressing over, it really doesn't matter. Like, this is stupid.
What we talking about?
Getting upset about traffic, deadlines. Oh, you didn't respond to my email.
I don't give a fuck about none of this shit.
So after that journey at your house, I was at that point. I was like, none of this shit matters. And that probably lasted for like 2 or 3 weeks. And after this, I came back to like, oh my gosh, I gotta hurry up and get to work. But for me, I like lives in that space. And I'm done.
I am done.
I'm trying to get there. Like, how can I get there? That's life goals right there.
Oh my gosh, this is making me
like, how can I get there?
Let me tell you, I don't give a fuck about nothing.
You live in that space. I'm like, how do I?
Wait, let me tell you what
I get there.
Let me tell you what my sister said to me. We were talking about work or something, and she was like, "Wait, are you doing any other projects?" And I was like, "Oh, it depends on we're just talking about work and stuff." Mm-hmm. She said, "I feel like you got to this space where," she said, "but you're just doing stuff on the side." I'm like, "Yeah." She said, "I feel like everything to you is on the side." I said, "Yeah." I said, "You right. Everything. I don't give a fuck about none of this shit. Like, I literally."
Anything that's not you?
It ain't.
It's on the side.
You a side boo. We talked about that before too. It's a side boo. I'm like, all of this.
All of it.
That's a beautiful place to be.
It really is. I haven't gotten there.
I
haven't gotten there.
But that's that shadow side. But that's that work. What I did to get to that place. The lessons.
Because when I tell you, Mia doesn't give a fuck about nothing. I mean, when it comes to her baby, of course. But like outside of that, she's just like, I'll.
You're not about to change my mood. Okay. I'm cool.
I'll get there when I get there. I'll do it when I do it.
It's always on time.
It'll happen when it's supposed to happen.
When it's supposed to happen. I really do feel like that.
And for me, who's like a Virgo, I'm like, okay, but we have to have structure. It has to be planned. We got to have this done. And I'm slowly learning. Sorry, you guys. I'm slowly pull the reins back. It's taking time. I'm sorry.
Let me say this.
Brantley!
Chrissy, that's Chrissy, don't be mad at your dogs barking. That's security. Top flight security of the world, Craig. Top flight.
He's not security because Mia got in the place.
I sure did.
And then he started
I'm like, Brantley, I'm in the house now. You gotta. But no, but seriously, I really do. You guys, I have learned, and if it's one thing that I have learned most recently that I would say that I want everybody to feel, I feel like every time I learn something about myself, I want everybody to feel like this. Like, no, y'all. What? I don't even know how to say it. When I say every fucking thing outside of you is number two. Your child, your every man.
No, my dog.
I don't even know how to Brantley too. No. I don't even know how to say it. Like how important you are to you and everybody in your sphere. Yeah. If you put yourself behind, you put yourself in a place of a deficit where what you're giving is from a deficit, from a place of lack. But if you understand that for you, you are number one. The most important relationship in your life is the one with yourself. And everything falls from that. When you love yourself unconditionally and completely, every decision that you make is from that place.
Every decision.
I'm like, so that's why it sounds, I would have never even imagined that there was a place to be like this. But when I say all y'all some side boos, from my perspective, when it comes to me is first. And when I have to fill my cup so that my cup overflows to help people to understand that you first in your life. Nobody comes before you for you. I said what I said.
She said what
and
she
I meant
said.
that shit.
And she meant it. So, I think they're barking because the food is here.
Oh, what? Is it outside the door?
I think so.
Oh, well, I'll go grab it.
So.
Okay, you get into the crystal. Or takeaways. You do takeaways and crystal. Okay. Grab this.
So, my takeaway off of this episode, speaking about your shadow side, is to go ahead and just deal with it. Like, I feel like at some point, especially if you're in a space where once you know better, but you're choosing not to do better, then you kind of either need to do the work or you're just going to continue to delay it, which will delay your growth. So it's like, I feel like no matter what, you're going to end up at that space. You're going to end up at that point.
Yes.
So
I would say my takeaway, you guys, is shit, I just said it. If there's one thing that I would want you guys to remember from this, it's the most beautiful, pure, and authentic thing that you can do for yourself is accept yourself wholly and completely. Your light, your darkness, your shadow, your wings, your angels, your demons. If you accept all of that and know that everything outside of you is a side boo, no one comes before you. All right? That'll be my takeaway.
Yep. All right. So I hope this episode was really good. And, honestly, the shadow side, you guys don't be afraid of the shadow side.
Don't be afraid.
I had one client who was really into like dark stuff. And she said, so can you help me work on my shadows? Can you help me with shadow work? And I was like, yeah, I can help you with shadow work, but it's definitely not going to be what you think it's going to be.
Right.
But if you, of course, I'm willing to do that. But she wanted to,
make it go away.
She wanted to go dark.
Oh, well, go, baby. I say do you.
I but it's whatever you decide it is.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be something that you put off to the side. It can just be, it's an aspect of you. It's like
you're all of it.
Right. It's all of it. So embrace all aspects of it. So, all right.
Balance,
baby. This week's featured crystal is repressed. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Element is earth. It's good for the root chakra, for grounding. So this crystal is good for lower energy centers, which I talked about. The root, the sacral, solar plexus. And it helps us go deep into our shadows and face things that we have forgotten about. It helps us to deal with areas that have been ignored on purpose. Man, if this crystal is not talking to me,
Okay.
or turned away from because it's just too hard to deal with, y'all, if this is not dealing with me and my ex-husband who was abusive and a narcissist, I mean, all of the above. And then also, working with this crystal, honestly, there's no hiding. Like, it's going to reveal everything. And so even the darkest and the most hidden parts of yourself, it's going to have to come to the surface. And so this crystal perovskite will help you if you're interested in doing shadow work, if you're interested in making the subconscious conscious, if you're interested in clearing negative attachments. This is the crystal that you want to work with. It's very beneficial. It'll actually bring you face to face with your fears and insecurities, and its energy pushes you to do something about the things that have been holding you back. And so honestly, the excuses that we make for ourselves, they're non-existent. So consider working with this crystal. It's very grounding. Again, deals with the root and the sacral, earth star energies, and it also assists in connecting you with your own physical body or in connection or in connecting to the earth. So this is a really good crystal to work with. I actually need to get some perovskite. Have you?
Can I tell you, when I saw this on here, I was remarking at how much it reminds me of the Royal Prostitute.
I know
the way that it's spelled, and I felt like this is how I saw the energy of the crystals. Tell me if this resonates with you, Christy. When I think about the work that what we call prostitutes do, they take on a lot of negative energy from people.
they do.
In many ways, I'm no, oh my goodness, please, don't add me because I don't care. But I think in many ways that prostitutes do a lot of spiritual cleansing for people because they take people's shadow side from them, right? So when I look at this, I think about this crystal as being something that gives you the space and opportunity to work in your shadow side.
Yeah.
By kind of making it look, you know what I mean? Like giving you the space and opportunity. And that's honestly...
It's a beautiful crystal. It kind of reminds me of like ruby.
Yes. Yeah.
Or
it totally does.
Something.
So that's the feeling that I felt. So simple work.
Yeah.
That's what I want y'all to do. Back to your journals. I want you to look at something in your life that you felt like, if it wasn't for this, something that while you were going through it was bad, was terrible. I can't believe this is happening. Or you've come out on the other side of it and you can see the growth in it. I want you to analyze that and then come up with the affirmation or a mantra that lets you know that you understand that there is beauty in your growth. So for instance, but it'll be one that fits you, because first you have to take some time to think about a negative experience that you're grateful for now because it's brought you to where you are. Then you come up with a mantra that describes that experience for you. So the outcome of that experience: I am more resilient. I am resilient. I am stronger than I believe myself to be. Whatever it is, when you look at that time in your life, and I want you to write that down every day for 21 days, whatever that mantra is, 3 times a day. 3 times. And so if that mantra is, I am more resilient than I have ever believed, write that down. If your mantra is that you learned from that, I am the creator of my world, write that down 3 times every day for 21 days and watch how it changes your life. Because it changes how you see everything in your life. All right, that's it. That's all I got today.
Yeah, that's the message for today. So, alright, that is, we are almost at, we are officially at an hour now.
I'm about to eat, y'all.
Yeah, so this is the episode on your shadow side. You all, thank you for those who have reached out to see how they can support us on Buy Me Coffee. The link should be on our episode, like the podcast post. It should be on there, like the link if you wanted to support us or buy us coffee or buy us wine, because typically we are recording these episodes with wine. But we really appreciate you all support. Thank you for listening to Queens of Crystal Things. And so for those of you who have been asking us about the workshop that we are coming out with,
Yes.
or the event, so it is scheduled for, it is official.
It's official.
I'm going to update the Eventbrite and make it live for this evening. We're actually recording on Thursday evening. So November 20th, it's a Sunday, 4 to 7 is when we're going to do a live recording. And we're also, did we say we're going to do like a release?
Yes.
Okay.
We're going to do some sound healing.
Yeah, some sound.
There's some live Q&A. We might have some fun treats for you.
Yes. So that's going to be posted. You can always get the deets from our Instagram. Don't forget to follow us on Two Queens Crystal Things on Instagram.
It's going to be a fun time.
You can email us. You can please be sure to follow our personal pages. Wings Unleashed 444. Crystal. What's my name?
Your name is Christy. Damn.
Christy R. Edwards. For real, follow us. All the downloads that we have, and we still have the followers that we have right now. Come on, help us.
Help us, y'all.
Help us grow our page.
We love y'all.
Yes, help us grow our Two Queens page. We have some really great and wonderful things coming out for you all. Thank you for your support. Light, peace, love.
And so.
Bye.